guess if I get out of the sun, that would be better. Well, good morning. This is Nancy today, as opposed to Nancy tomorrow or Nancy yesterday. This is half of Nancy today. It's kind of a dark and light thing, you know? Sometimes I'm really happy and everything is good, and sometimes I'm not so happy. I'm not usually ever all the way over there. I'm miserable, but anyway, good morning. I started to say something a minute ago, and so good morning. I thought it's probably since I have been having such a difficult time with keeping myself busy, keeping myself occupied, because it used to be that people, hi Tristan, it used to be that people would fill their time with other people, right? Like children, grandchildren, brothers and sisters, friends. There was no end to the amount of people in our lives. And so we never had to worry about filling time, right? Because people fill your time. People have needs, they want to talk about things, they want to do things. And so when you're with people, it's you're less likely to be bored. Um, oh, I'm glad you watch and you love my channel. Thank you. Tell 5 friends. Anyway, I'm making a comeback. Do you notice that? I sort of took a break for a few years. Only an odd time I would make a video. But I'm making a comeback. Only I can't really go outside and do it. But I can do it inside, and there's enough going on inside that... So, now that there's no people in your life, except who you live with, which could be by yourself, or could be your spouse, or whatever they call people, it could be your whole family. Can't wait to see my new videos. I'm going to make a stand for not take a stand. I take a stand on many things. And I don't think that religion and politics should be mixed. I think that we should not assume that we can see our religion in the political situation. I think that it's a very private thing and that we need to have here I have him on my wall because I love him. But I think that we can't legislate religion, you know? I think that, and anyway, I don't want to go there. But, so if you're bored, you know Abe, do you? Oh, are you Ryan's brother? Anyway, boredom. So now that we're under a lockdown again, it would be nice if we only had to do it once. If everybody did it for just whatever, 100 days or 14 days or whatever it takes. If everybody just did it, maybe we could stop this virus. But I don't think it's going to happen. We have many opposing voices, many opinions, and I know that if I were locked up in my apartment and couldn't go out, and it wasn't because of the snow, it was just because somebody had said that there was a reason that I shouldn't, I know that that would be very difficult for me. Luckily, the Lord has blessed me at this point in my life, being 65 years old. Ta-da! I made it, I got old. But I'm only at the beginning of being old. And you know what? Hey, just listening to me could be a release of boredom. Ha! Who would have thought? Anyway, I was saying something else, but now it's gone. Anyway, so I think that the thing that goes when you don't have a job, I think that or you don't have children and grandchildren or whatever you've got, whatever is different. I find that for me, my schedule, would you like to know my schedule? It's not a typical schedule, of course. I get up, go to the washroom, get dressed, and in most seasons, I go outside. I'm on my feet and I'm ready to stay on my feet until the afternoon, at which time I've usually got a lot of back pain and I need to sit and recover. Anyway, so pain is a great causer of boredom, right? Right? If you've got pain and you can do stuff, then what do? So I figured out when my kids were little, I figured out that boredom was what happened when there was something you really wanted to do, but you couldn't do it. You have a thing you want to do, but you can't do it. That is the basis of boredom, because nothing else really fits the bill. Not until you get inspired by something, right? I think that a big part of dealing with boredom is knowing what it is, right? So what is it that you really wish you could do? Go outside, right? Go swimming in the summer. Or that wouldn't, it depends what you focus on, right? But having a schedule now is important. So my schedule, I get up, go outside. And then I have projects. If my body isn't feeling great, then I find projects I can do with my trailer. I can go over to a lumber yard, a sawmill, and I can pick up a load of, have it dumped in my trailer, a load of boards. And then I can slide them out of my trailer one at a time and cut them up for what I want, or stack them and use them at will. If you've got a sawmill around, ask if they have seconds. I get a big trailer load for $30. No, $40 for good planed seconds. Good on 4 sides. But for $20, I get slab, or slab. If it's got a lot of those planed boards in it, then it's not just slab, then it's $30. Anyway, you don't care about all that. What the thing is, I go and get a load of manure, and I bring it home and I spend the day in the summertime unloading it on my mini garden beds. 25 out here, a whole bunch down by the pond. Hey, I wonder if you can see the pond from here now. Yes, you can. Look at that. I'm going to turn around so I can point at it for you. All right, so the pond, hey, look at all these people. All right, so I make it big, like that. And can you see it there? That flat area. That whole flat area is, where's my finger? There it is, okay. So that area there is Serenity Dippity Pond. And I cut away, you can see, now where's my finger? Hey, I'll use something tiny. Okay, so. Yes, we have a lot of snow. This snow is on the roof. We now have a roof over our shady deck. And the birds ate all the food. But anyway, so I'm showing you this out there. So out there, this whole area was tall alder bushes. So I cut them all off about 3 feet high. You can see that this one didn't get cut. All those back in there did. And, bless your heart, Tristan. Bless your heart. Okay, so I cut all those alders. And then I still couldn't see the pond when I came up here in the summer. But now I see it's this alder. Now there are 1, 2, 3 clumps of pieces that, the bottom of the bushes, right? Those have to come out. And this bush here. And then I'm going to put, maybe I'll put garden beds in there. Something, I'll use the area. Anyway, I just wanted to show you. See, so yesterday the sun was shining on that whole area and you could see it was ice. and you could see it back behind these alder bushes. It goes, there's a stream which is running on a diagonal, like so. And then the pond comes out this way, or maybe this way. We used to do laps in it, but it filled with silt. I saw online you can buy something to get rid of silt in your pond. Oh yeah, this is another thing I've been doing. So when I can't go outside, I've been playing with my basket making. So this is a basket, or going to be at some point. I was walking around, I took some willow and I made a circle. I mean, not willow, grapevines. I pulled them out of a bush and I made a circle. It was a wreath. And then I spread one end of the wreath. So it's got 1, 2, 3. That was all that was there. Now 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyway, so then I stuck these other ones in there. But I've been weaving it for a while, using whatever I've got, doing a pretty miserable job. But it'll be a good one for. Hey Faye, how are you? I've thought about you a lot. Anyway, so I've been making these baskets. This one, and oh, look what else I did. So this is birch bark. I made this online. You've got videos that'll show you how to do this. So this birch bark, and it came from a book, and I did them all in the book except for the canister at the end. So this is what I did with cattails. I covered the jar. You want to see how that works? Like, I just ended it right there. It's very simple to see how it ended. These that go around, they twist. They go, it's called twining. You have 2 pieces, and every time they come to a thing, they go the opposite one. The one that's coming from the back always goes in on the bottom. Anyway, so that's that. These are from other years. Oh, this is cute, eh? Did you like that? I'm trying to do the actual way it's supposed to be done. See, not like that. Oh, she is, eh? How is she? Has she improved? Hey, look, this is another one. I've got to wet it so I can finish it. But this is sedge grass that grows, it's very tiny grasses. See how little they are? It's like making a basket out of pine needles, really. I have to be careful not to break them. So I'll have to wet them so I can finish. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Now this is a basket that's just covered with lichen. Isn't that neat? Oh, and look at what you can do with a gourd. Now, I got this when I was a travel writer and I was in Curacao, which is an island off the coast of Venezuela. But you can take a gourd and you put a thing, somehow you can create a gourd with I don't know how. But anyway, it's possible. Anyway, so let me just sit back down here. You like the way I dress? I decided not to send all these dresses back. See, there they are. They were in the car to go, but then I realized it was probably going to cost me a fortune to send them back to China. So I didn't want to do that. Anyway, let me turn this around. There. So now, I think a schedule is important. I think that, like this morning, I decided I'm going to have a schedule. So I took a shower. I came up to here. I read my scriptures. I listened to a podcast. And do you know that if you want to hear a podcast, you can tell, if you've got one of those Google Dots, you can tell it, play the latest episode of the podcast, and then you can say anything. And there might be a podcast by that name. I wanted to know if I could do my Come Follow Me manual with some people online, or if there was a podcast that would read it and do it. And so I asked, is there a podcast? Or I said, please play the latest episode of. And then I came up with some name, Come Follow Me or something. And there was a podcast. Now, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. It was similar. It was the same theme, but it wasn't doing, I wanted it to read and discuss the material with me, which it really didn't do. Anyway, but podcasts, you can ask anything. You can ask to hear the latest episode of some show, some broadcaster you like. And it's probably got a podcast and it'll play it for you. And I have a whole bunch of these dots because I have a very technology savvy son who is doing very well in the world and all that. And so he has always blessed the whole family from the time he was about 16 and building computers. He made sure everybody in the family had a computer. Isn't that fun? There were 5 kids. He was the second oldest, and the oldest had already left. So he made sure that his 3 siblings, the young kids, they were all younger. They were from when I was married to Willem. Anyway, so there's a gap, so it's like 2 little families. Where am I going with this? He made sure they all had computers. And so as time goes by, he gives me things like, in his house, all the lights change color. He's got 57 lights that change color. And you can say, okay, turn all the lights red. And they will all turn red. And he's got this little boy who's the cutest little darling. And he just loves that. Turn all the lights green. Turn all the lights yellow. And then you have to run around and check and see if they all turned yellow or green or red or whatever it is. Anyway, it's kind of fun. But it is the toys of the very rich, right? Yes. Well, anyway, so I have been blessed with what I'm hoping that when he upgrades to a better Tesla, I'll get the old one. Anyway, I'm one day they'll be secondhand, and I'll get a secondhand electric car, and I'll have fun. Anyway, so I have these Google Dots. They're minis, home minis. I love them. I love them. I call people on it. I tell it, okay, I or call, and then I give it a phone number, and it'll phone it. It rings, and I usually have to be pretty nearby. Depends. And you can't, it's like a walkie-talkie where you interrupt each other and you can't hear each other because you're interrupting each other and it doesn't listen. Anyway, but other than that, so I can call the United States for free and talk for as long as I want, right? I don't have to have a plan, except if I don't have any electricity, then it won't work. But then again, the phones are all plugged in, so they don't really work either. It's important to have a phone that's not plugged in to electricity, so you can still use the phone during an ice storm. Bet there would be a run on them. We used to have a dial phone, a rotary dial phone. Then they came out with touch tone, which was these push buttons, and they all made noises. And it was very different, and I never really wanted one. They were going to charge you like $2 extra a month to have touch tone. And I didn't see any reason. I liked the old rotary dials. Wasn't that fun? Yeah. And if it fell on the floor, the handle would fall off and you'd hear this dial tone. Bzz, beep. That's what it is. Beep. Like busy is busy, busy, busy. Anyway. Bored still? Anyway, so I have, because my darling Willem, who will do anything to help me whenever I need help, he's so kind, he's so good. So he is a very quiet guy. He sticks to himself. He's on his computer. His whole life was a pencil pusher, except he never had pencils. Well, he did have pencils, but mostly he uses skis. And he was a scientist, so he's very content to have perfect quiet and be focused on the computer, whether it's composing his music or doing genealogy or reading the news in Holland or whatever he's doing. And so that leaves me. It's different than if the house is empty. Like if the house is empty, if he's not here, I do different things than when he is here. Isn't that interesting? Like, I sort of take ownership of the house and I might like look at it and think, I should tidy this place up. Let's turn this back into a loving, cozy home instead of a pathway through the piles of the Great Mississippi. They get swallowed up in the Great Mississippi. That's the way my father used to refer to my mother, to the house. Just put it down, put it down. It'll get swallowed up in the Great Mississippi. Anyway, whatever. So sometimes when there's nobody around, I have all these tweets coming in. Winter Storm Orlina isn't done in the West. Something else about kindness. But making videos. Oh, hello, Skinnerd girl. Do you like Leonard Skinnerd? I think we've had this conversation before. Jen, hi. Now, you put a picture on there yesterday, and I wondered, that wasn't you, was it? That's your mother, right? I couldn't tell. I mean, I could tell. She wasn't the same as when I knew you. But we're all aging, so I love you too. Thank you so much for showing me lotus flower bottoms, those things with all those holes in it, the round thing. That's some part of a lotus flower. I would love to see a lotus flower in bloom, a real one in the wild. Anyway, it must be in the water, right? And that thing floats, which keeps it up. Yeah, that was fun. That was cool to see that you do the same kind of things that I do. You're out there exploring and enjoying nature. Somebody in Italy said that she hadn't seen the sunshine for 7 months because of the lockdown back in the spring. What a terrible thing that is, eh? It's very... Oh, I lost my shoe there? Did I walk home with one shoe? I probably had others in the car. Oh, good. Oh, good. Good, I'm glad. Carla is a good girl. Anyway, oh, here comes Willem. So, a schedule. If you get bored, you should have a schedule. And that keeps you from being bored somewhat. Hi, Willem.
Hi.
We're talking about meaning me, talking to my camera device, which has people in it. Anyway, they're all in there.
Mm-hmm. What's all in there?
All those people. They're right in there. If you look up in that thing, you can almost see them.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, how'd it go?
Confusing.
What was it you were going to do?
I'm looking for ski boots. Cross-country ski boots.
Yes, very confusing.
But it's not simple. They have different kind of bindings, going with different kind of skis. So if you just buy a pair of boots, then you have to find the pair of skis that goes with those bindings.
Right.
Some boots go with certain bindings.
Right. So what do? Look for the skis?
I'm not sure.
Look for a set of ski outfit.
You can look at sets, but you're not normally getting sets at a dump or anything,
Right.
Anyway, and then the thing of trying them on, I just find you have to have exactly the right, or very close to your normal athletic shoe size, whatever that is, running shoes, I guess. If it's is it different from regular shoe size? I don't even know. And if it's too wide, you could get blisters. If it's too narrow, it's kind of narrow. So, and your feet could get cold.
That's why they have those shoe sizing things. You put your foot on and you slide those metal. It's a little metal thing. You stand up on it and they put the thing down to your toe and across to the side of your bunion or whatever it's called. Is it a bunion?
Oh, no
thing
idea.
that sticks out.
Anyway, so I'm not sure yet what to do.
Yes.
The best thing is to get a complete outfit, but I'd like to try the shoes on, really,
Yes.
And then for that you need a store, and you need to have the
They need to be
restriction
open.
lifted. Yeah, it need to be open.
We're having a shutdown at the moment.
Yeah.
Another shutdown. Hey, I can't
So
close
maybe in
that.
February they're open. Maybe they're almost opening up yet. Who knows?
When's February?
Well, it's next week.
When does it start? What's today?
Sunday is still close to the end.
So Sunday, what day are we on now?
Friday.
Friday. I had a Saturday and a Sunday in the middle of the week one week. That was a very weird thing. How come this won't shut down? If I try and make it, there we go. Make it small, but the writing then shows up. So, shopping online. You know, the next generation, they're good at this. They do everything online, right?
Mm-hmm.
They can order their groceries and they've got it all figured out. But it's,
Well,
it's like
it's not a bad idea, except for things like when you have your sizes, not shoe sizes.
yeah.
That's the thing. Some things you need to just have to.
So then the thing to do, if you wanted to buy them now without trying them on, then you'd have to buy them from somewhere local that we could return them to, where we don't have to do shipping,
Right.
right? So we can take them back to the store and have returns.
And then it would have to be.
Then we'd have to try another pair.
And then it would have to be sets, skis, boots, and poles. It'll be about $500, I think.
Oh, well, all right. So I have only a pair of skis and boots and poles, one set of everything I got. Took the rest of them back to the dump.
And they will work together. You tried them out. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, Lori gave them to me yesterday. These
Mhm.
boots and poles and skis. I have poles. Yeah. Anyway,
Anyway, so I'll try and find out when the lockdown is ending for Ontario and see if anything is possible. If it's like early next month, it will be early enough to just wait it out. And February is still lots of snow to ski on.
we just got snow. We've had no snow for a long time. We had a bit, it melted. We had more, it melted. Now we have this, and it'll probably melt, but not until it goes bitter, bitter, bitter cold for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
-20 today.
Something like that.
I think the two doesn't matter which scale you're using, Fahrenheit and
Yeah, it does.
Fahrenheit is -20 Celsius is 0 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, something like that.
Hello, Charles. Who's Charles? Okay, so what we were talking about, I keep interrupting myself. So, would you mind sharing how you keep from being bored?
How do I keep from being bored?
Yeah.
I get all sorts of stuff. Like I do my hobbies basically. I play some piano. I work on compositions. I do genealogy. I snow shovel. Oh gosh, and I garden in the summer. And yeah, those are the main ones, I think, isn't it? Aren't they?
And you do other housework in between
Yeah,
to fill the
right.
time.
Fill the time. It's not really something to do bored. It didn't get boredom, but it is contributing to boredom.
That's right.
But it has to be done. So yes, I'm pitching in. So
Oops, got to get rid of me again. How do I make it small? Doesn't go small very easily. So I find that, like, if the weather is good and if I have an idea, having an idea is the basics of so much, like creativity. You've got to have an idea. I love Pinterest because if I go on Pinterest looking for things like a grass hut or outdoor shelter, that's my latest thing, is that I've been building shelters. Remember the Streamwalk Chairathon years ago? Well, along the stream, there's all these curves, and there's beautiful views from many spots. And I thought those spots each needed a spot to sit. So I put chairs there. Well, now I'm going back, and I'm putting shelters over these chairs. So there's a bench shelter, and it's got the bench, and it's got sticks overhead, and between two alder bushes, the sticks are up there, and then between the bushes, and then I covered them with greenery. I go to the reuse, or to the compost pile. Is it a compost pile? Is that what they call it?
What?
There's no food compost that I would find. But anyway, there's bags of leaves, or there's branches or whatever. So anyway, I brought all these greenery Norwegian spruce and put them on top, and put sticks behind. That was one bush, one chair, and the next one, I made an A-frame. I had wood, and so I made this little A-frame shape, and have two chairs under it. And it's amazing. It's even got a back on it. And then that's with some of that slab wood, the paper thin. And now I'm making a alder and willow dome, and covering it with thatch. Those big, tall. They look like bamboo. And they're a grass that grows by the roadside. Anyway, so those are my hobbies. Doing stuff like that outside. Plus, I love snowshoeing my pathways. Down there, that's my project this year, is Sedge Meadow Teepee. If you Google Sedge Meadow Teepee on my channel, then you'll see a lot of the history of it down there. I used to make videos down there. There's also another channel I have, which is called Teepee Woman, T-I-P-I Woman. And there's a lot of teepee videos from that time. Anyway, so I've been doing things like, well, I turned my teepee into a grass hut. I thatched it in layers, like layers in the summertime. And I don't know if you saw any photos of that, but, and that was really nice. And it was wherever the sun could get us. And then all the way around the outside edges of the teepee are 2 or 3 foot deep, I guess 2.5 foot deep, garden beds, 4 feet wide, 3 feet wide, something like that. You're smiling.
I love you.
I love you too. What do you think of all these things
About your
that I do? It's not your typical
well,
proper sweet housewife.
It's your stuff that you like to do. It's your hobbies, and it gives you joy, and it gives other people joy. I think it's great.
Thanks. So, see, that makes me happy. Look at that smile. He's so nice to me. It's important that you have support in your hobbies. If you have to have clean hobbies that you can do in the living room, then you're kind of limited to drawing and sewing, knitting, crocheting, stuff like that, handiwork, needlework. But I can't sit that much. I don't think it's good for me to sit that much. I think that I got really big and I got 2 bad hips when I sat a lot and ate a lot of sugar and cheesies. I ate a lot of bad stuff. Oh, man. Hey, I lost a whole lot of weight. Did you know that? Can you tell? I was 220, between 220, 230, and sometimes I would spike up to 240. And that lasted for, I don't know, maybe 20 years or 15 years. It was quite a long time. Anyway, and so the weight of on your bones, I think, strengthens your bones, and so you get solid bones, which is a good thing. But now all that weight is gone, and you probably wonder why. 9 degrees in southern New Hampshire, 0 here. Hi, was that Rachel? Hi, Rachel. Nice to see. So, Charles, you're up in New Hampshire. Rachel, I'm not sure where you are. Faye, you're in the Carolinas. Jennifer is in the Midwest. Huh. I don't know. Are you local, Tristan? Anyway, I digress. Anyway, Stafford in the UK. Stafford. Is there a Stafford in Ontario? There's Stratford.
There's Stratford in the UK, famous place.
No, Stafford.
It's Stafford. There's Stratford in Ontario too, but Stafford, I think so, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. They usually, in the New World, they named everything after the Old World. They weren't too original at the beginning, I guess. Surrounded by, as you drive from here to Connecticut on the New York State Thruway, and go south on I-81 from Canada. It's it's filled with towns from other places: Amsterdam, New York, Mexico, New York.
You
Um,
did a video of that once, remember?
I
We were
did-
driving through Mexico, New York, and she said, "Ah, we're in Mexico, and look around." Remember that?
yeah.
Oh, it's Mexico, New York, he said. Oh gosh.
Uh, anyway, so um, my hobbies limit me in some ways because they are big. I don't really get into making small stuff except these baskets. I filled up my life with those huge baskets, you know. So I don't make these huge baskets so much anymore. This one was out of wisteria when I was in Georgia. Naturally, I was bored because I had to stay in the house and take care of my mom. So this was all wisteria, which was growing on the ground in the yard or in the neighbor's yard. That one I made in Connecticut with Mary. We used our birch bark. Anyway, but in the house, it's harder to find things to do in the house, I find. So I have to have a lot of things to do in the house. And just like Willem, he's only got a handful of things on his list: composing, playing the piano, genealogy, shoveling snow, watching the news. Those are his things, right?
Well.
Oh, and then scriptures, reading scriptures.
Yeah, yeah, and well,
Shoveling or gardening, whichever season it is.
yeah, and appliance repair lately.
Oh, yes. He single handedly, with the manual, repaired our dishwasher. We have a 2 drawer dishwasher, and the drawers wouldn't go back in, and it wouldn't shut off, and it was a mess. Anyway, and he fixed it. And he fixed the washing machine. We have this washing machine, which is also it's a one machine. It's a washer and a dryer. It has all these cycles. You put your laundry in, it comes out dry, sort of. Firewood. Ah, yes.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
You got tons of firewood and and just chip away at it, after it comes in the summer sometime, and then by the time the winter, by the time the snow flies, a lot of it is the shed is full, and then there's some that is left outside just as an extra, and then we put it in later and let it dry there before using it. Yeah.
So those are his things. So what are my things? I I read my scriptures. I'm not very perfect on that. I play the violin sometimes. I make baskets. I talk on the phone. I watch the news. Sometimes I cook in the morning. If it's morning and I'm in the kitchen on my way out, I'll fill the Instant Pot like a slow cooker, only it pressure cooks it, so I can cook things like split pea soup. I just let it cook longer or pressure longer, or soybeans. But mostly it's like lentils. Willem in the summer, he does an awful lot of gardening, drying the vegetables. It was my job to harvest them. That's why this basket is going to be useful, because I gave a good basket to my daughter and I need one like this. It was not like that, but this is for carrying all the things that I gather from the garden and draping them across it. Sorry, got another text. Um, so, the transition, like now that it's a really cold day, and it's cold this week, but it's sunny. So, my main project this year, all winter, has been the grass hut. And so I've been turning that whole place. It's my hobby, right? I made a covered bridge. I made another bridge the other day. It's really nice. It's very narrow. It's only 22 inches wide, but I'm going to put a railing on one side. And I was starting to think about the railing, how I was going to do that. I took Christmas trees and I went through town. I went to town and I drove up and down the roads for the whole week, every day, almost every day, and picked up all the Christmas trees that were on the curb or on the snow, or sometimes standing in the snow looking like perfect trees in the edge of the road. Anyway, so I got 77 trees. One person, I put up a sign that said Christmas tree drop off, and one person dropped off a tree. That was nice. And but only one. Anyway, and then I went to another town and they have a huge landfill site, and there was this mountain. I'm talking mountain of Christmas trees. So I brought home 60 Christmas trees, took 3 loads. And then the shutdown happened at midnight, and that was the end of that. So I have approximately 125 trees out there. What is 6 and 60 and 77? 6 and 7 is 13.
What do you want to add?
137 trees.
60 plus 77? Yeah, that would be 125.
Oh, and I've been saying it's 125. It's because I never bothered to count or add, as a matter of fact. Anyway, so I do have a beautiful view, Rachel. It is, yeah, it does wonderful things for me. And when we renovated, I insisted that we put a deck all the way around the whole house. And since I'm 65, and I'll probably live to 85, maybe something less, maybe something more, but that's probably the average, since the longevity in Canada for women is 82 average. So I will, if cedar, which is all cedar, or it's pressure treated, if it lasts for 20 years, that's fine. That's all I need. 20 years, and then it can fall down. You know, the kids can do what they want with it. Who knows if I'll even still own the place in 20 years. Life changes so many times. But I have a deck all the way around the outside. I thought that was pretty important, because in the wintertime, when you don't shovel, like you don't shovel a walk all the way around your house in the snow generally. But on the deck, it's so easy, except the snow falls off the roof everywhere. Now that we've got these 3 roofs, 3 extra little roofs, that means we have, one of them doesn't do it, but 2 of them create piles. So now we have 4 heaps that we have to tend to. That's a little bit troublesome because we don't always feel like, you know, you hear the snow sliding off the roof. To those of you that do not have feet of snow in winter, you probably don't know the sound of the snow sliding off the roof.
Boom. Or faster. Boom.
And it's usually preceded by drips of water. So if you are out there and it's dripping on the roof, be careful, because you're going to hear that sound.
Now, it's the metal roof that does that too very much. Like when we had shingles, it was really a pain in the rear end, but it was because they only last 20 years and you have to redo them. But they were very nothing they slid really. Like it was not slippery. But the metal roof, it slides really easily, and one of those roofs is a pretty steep angle there, and that's where most of the stuff falls, and it falls really. I wouldn't want to stand underneath it, so we have to do something about that.
Like, don't stand underneath it.
Yeah, that's an important thing. Yeah, it could hurt you, I think, if there's enough snow of it. And
well,
ice.
maybe we should put up a little snow fence going down the middle of the deck. It's quite a wide deck. I think it's 13 feet wide or something.
Yeah, but those big heavy drops of snow could make the deck break early, you know. So I think we need to install. You can install snow guards or something like that break up the slide. That only small pieces slide at a time, and I can look into it in the summer and see what can.
When we'll be thinking about it.
Yeah, well, you know, we're gonna have to plan it and see what's there, and something needs to be done. And we'll have to be something.
I think my easy way of doing it. I think we should just put up a railing that splits the deck 6 feet and 6 feet, so that the 6 feet, the deck is amazing. Such peaceful surroundings. We have very little room in UK in general, and gardens are tiny. I can imagine the snowfall. We grind to a halt here after a couple of inches. Well, we do too if we don't have a snowplow go by. You can't drive when there's just a couple of inches of snow. It's really dangerous, especially if the ground is not frozen. I say this all the time, but if the ground is regular, then when the snow touches it, it melts, and you got more on it. So you got this melted stuff, which is now slippery, under your snow. That is treacherous. Treacherous. It's much worse than in Canada, where it's frozen like 6 feet deep or something. And I know, I kid you not, by the end of the season, it's frozen 6 feet deep. And when it gets warm outside, the cold is still going deeper because it's like a truck. It's just cold is falling, and the cold air above pushes it. But when it stops pushing it, it's like a truck. It's still moving, and it'll slow down, and then it'll start thawing from the top, and then the frost will come out. But anyway, I digressed again. I think my life is just a digression. I think we should just accept it, that that's life. Why is it so important to hold to the first topic that we started with, like boredom and a schedule and things to do? But you know, I really feel for the people that are in small areas and that cannot leave. People are allowed, you know, to go for
Like
walks.
like a high-rise apartment or something like that.
Yeah.
No, it would be going bonkers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, but you wouldn't feel that safe in the elevator and the hallways, you know? Because who knows who lives there that's got COVID, who just walked through the hall and breathed through it. And you know, who knows? Anyway, COVID it's a very strange thing. That's why I decided I better make this video because yesterday I had a very miserable day. I was very bored. I couldn't find something to do, and that challenge of always having to find something to do is taxing. You know, I think it's easier when things are just obvious and you just do them. But when you have to figure out what to do next because you've done all those things and you don't want to do them again, that's when you revert to your schedule. Aha, I could make soap. Right, Nikki. I haven't made soap in a long time and I really need soap. Willem, can you tell me to make soap sometime?
Make soap.
He always does that. As soon as I say, could you remind me such and such?
You do
And
it
he'll
to me
say
too. But we need some. I like this liquid soap that you pump it, and we are almost out of it. We are out of it basically
Yes.
in the bathroom.
There's
so.
one up here.
Oh, okay. So
I should make some. But you know, when you make it with your homemade soap and you add water to the soap, I taught you how to make soap. Ah, now that's cool. You're welcome. Boy, there was a lot of soap making videos, and everyone would say, "Oh, can you make a video? Make soap, bake soap, cut soap, make a video." And so I would start making soap again, and it was like making macaroni, right? You just boil the water, throw in the macaroni, and wait a few minutes. So then to explain how to do it every time, you know, I'm going to measure all these little baggies full of lye so I can make 10 batches of soap. And then I would measure all the oil, and then I, you know, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you could learn a new skill. A lot of people are home, she says. I should do it now. I guess I could. Yeah, it's, there's 300 videos on here, or 350. Oh yeah, you're still working full time. You have 3 days off each week, and that's enough. Yeah, you know, like it takes a lot to. When the kids were living upstairs, I never had to worry about it. I was always listening for opportunities for them to come and play with me or something, you know? They were pretty much to themselves in their own little world with their parents, but you know, sometimes they would get to see them a lot. Hey, thanks for the thumbs ups. So, oh, there was another. So I was going to tell you about the Christmas trees, so I'll pick up from there. If you're still with me, if you've already lost interest and have left, I understand completely. Because you're not bored. You're not bored enough to watch this. Um, so, so I took those 25 Christmas trees, 137, and I put them in the center of alder clumps. Alder is a strange kind of a bush. It grows these stems, and the stems are not very sturdy. And they grow up, but you see, to volunteer, then you'd have to be leaving the home, right? So you have to, this is all the stuff you have to do while you're on shutdown, because I have lots of things I can do when it's not shut down. But phoning somebody that might be on their own, that's a good idea. There's a lot that can be done with phoning. Oh, and remember, by small and simple things can great things be brought to pass. Right?
I'm going to,
Bored, are we?
I'm gonna shovel some snow.
Ah, the old snow shoveling, ready for him. I've changed my medications, and so I have to be very careful now what I do, because nothing really gets rid of my pain. If I reach my arms out and do the dishes or something, there's this pain in the vertebrae right behind there, and it gets worse and worse all day, and it's so bad. And so I have to be very careful. I can't do anything where I have to extend my arms, like hold my arms when you're washing dishes. I don't know why they put the water way back at the back of the sink. And even the edge of the sink, you've got to have a 2x4 underneath the counter. And so that limits how close you can get with your sink. Now, if you put it on end, that would be an awesome idea, wouldn't it? But then it would totally mess up the boards underneath, the cupboards underneath. If you used a 2x2, maybe, then you could possibly bring the sink closer. But anyway, there's always this gap, this 3.5 inch gap. And so it makes you have to reach out, and that is very painful for me. And so I have not yet been able to find a replacement for my pain. It'll take a while for my painkillers. It'll take a while to do it, but I'll get there eventually. Anyway, so I kind of ran out of things to say. Does that mean it's over? I think I'm bored. I'll do something else. What do I want to do? Oh, I went on this site, on Facebook. It's the Alberta Basket Makers. And so there's this awesome basket maker that wants to teach everybody how to do it. So she's doing these Zoom meetings, and people that live locally can come and pick up the supplies. And she made a basket out of dandelions. Can you imagine, like, the dandelion stems, the ones the flowers are on? Can you imagine that? And she's gotten me inspired again. My friend is having a cup of tea, getting ready for seed starting. I have these 2 hydroponic systems of my son's, but he left before I filled them with water and figured out how to do it. They went to Pakistan for a month to visit her family, to take care of things. That was not in the shutdown. That was in between shutdowns. Anyway, and so I was going to start seeds up here because it's such a bright room. Isn't it an amazing room? So I need to fill those reservoirs with water. I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Anyway, I'm not going to think about it today because that's too much. Oh yeah, I made this snowman contest, like you talk about volunteering. Well, there's a local Facebook group, and so I joined up, and then we had really packy snow, and so I made a video, or didn't make a video, I put a post on there and said, snowman contest, deadline, whenever, and entries, just reply to this post with your photos. So I have these 23 snowmen that entered the contest. Moringa. Oh, really? Moringa. All right. That helps with pain? That would be good. Otherwise, I can't do anything, and so I can't go and harvest reeds and finish making this hut I'm building. I'm making a round dome covered with thatch, but my dome kind of sprung open. Now it's more like a lean thing. It's not very good. I have to figure out what I'm doing and do it. Tie a rope around the whole bottom. You see, usually you dig a hole and you put each post into the hole, or a little bit. You put them down in a few inches, a foot maybe. But no, these are in the snow, which isn't that stable. Some of it is, but it's not that deep. Anyway, so I can't do much of that until I have some good medication that'll get rid of the pain I'm going to be in after I do it. See, when you've got pain all your life, you learn to live with it. You learn to deal with it and just to do stuff anyway. In fact, when I'm in pain, that's the time to do all the stuff that hurts. Because it hurts, I'm already hurting. What difference does it make? Right? I don't think it really makes the pain too much worse. Sometimes it is, but anyway, so with my deck, so one of the things that I like to do in the winter is walk around the deck. But now that we have these snow heaps at the edges of all the roofs, and I put a doorway on one, I have to open the door of it to walk through. And I can't shovel the snow that's in the way, and our snowblower has eaten a mat. And I had no idea that you could look it up on YouTube and find out how to get a mat out of your snowblower. Like, oh, this has happened to other people. The floor mats and rocks and toys and everything that wasn't picked up before the snow flies. There's a lot of preparations that have to be done before it snows. When I grew up in Georgia, there's no such thing. You didn't have to do anything before it snowed. Nothing. Here, if you want to use something for the next 6 months, you better put it somewhere where it's not going to get snowed on. Or you better cover it, or have it up high enough that you can knock the snow off of it and you can access it, like my boards and the saw. Anyway, so I think we've gotten enough to talk about, don't you think? Could make soap. Could look on Pinterest, get ideas. There's so many ideas. Amazing. Everybody likes different things. I'm on there and I've got so many boards. What's wrong with me? I've got like 100 boards. And on my playlists on YouTube, like I've got hundreds of playlists. 700 playlists, was it? But they only give you 100 anymore, so it's whatever else was lost. But there's also 18,000 videos. Hey, you know what? You can look up how to on Nancy Today stuff, and you can watch all those videos, and something on there ought to inspire somebody. By small and simple things. Oh, yes, I couldn't, what I did with the soap, that was Nikki just saying that years ago I made soap and I couldn't get it out of the tube. So what I had was, the eaves troughs, they're kind of oblong and plastic. And I thought, oh, this is great. And so I made soap, hot process soap, and I poured it into this drain pipe. And I put duct tape over the end of it because I had to be able to open the end of it up. And so I went through a lot of duct tape on all these tubes. And then I would leave it in there, and the tubes were about 1.5 feet, 2 feet long maybe. Yeah, I probably cut one big long one into 4. An 8-foot long drain pipe into 4 pieces. Anyway, and then I made a plunger. So I cut a piece of wood to be the same shape as the inside of it. And I put a big 2x2 on it, nailed it in. And then I used that to stick it through. Well, that was great, except that sometimes the hot process soap was too hot and it would melt or soften the tube ever so slightly that it wasn't the right shape or, and it was awfully hard because, it didn't really matter if it was all a different shape, but if you're going to push it as a tube coming out the end, it all has to be at least that thin. So you can't go for big lumps on the sides. Anyway, so I couldn't see the lumps, but that's what had happened. And so I couldn't ever get things out of there. But I would try. I would try. You know, sometimes I think about leaving on my camera and just doing stuff. And just doing stuff all over the place and having it on. And so if you're bored, there's always, you can watch Nancy. I don't know. I remember doing a video once where I had all this birch bark and I had to flatten it. And so I was heating it up in the oven because usually it would be rolled up somewhat. I would heat it up in the oven and unroll it. And then I would put encyclopedias on it. That was before our new kitchen. So I had the big long freezer in there and the big wooden table. That was a cool table. I liked that table. I wonder what I ever did with it. Oh yeah, it went outside. There it went out there. Basket making, basket knitting. I was going to share my basket making with one of these basket making sites, and so I went to share it, and I realized there were 700 videos in that playlist. Hi, Susan. Good morning, good morning. So we were just talking about all the ways we could stop being bored. But I think that my problem is that if I could just sit and like sitting, I would be all right. But because I don't like sitting and I don't really feel like cleaning, I'd rather walk and build my grass huts. So I have this awesome grass hut. It's amazing. When I was 17, I lived on a mountain in Jamaica among the Rastafari. I know, really. Can you believe that? Oh, you've been knitting socks. Yes. See, before I had my hip replacement surgery, I made a lot of socks. A lot of socks. But then I don't sit now unless I have to, and then I fall asleep. I have to get up and go do something or I'll fall asleep. Anyway, so this one lady has inspired me with her videos. So I've made these cattail things because she made a little small square cattail basket. And then that inspired me, so I made, oh, look at, I'm standing up. That feels good. So I made this for my phone out of cattails. Needs a button and a loop. But it's all gonna break at that bind there. You see, every one of those is gotten broken. So is that the way I want it? Do I want to break it? How do I want to keep it from breaking? I should at that point use something that's not brittle. Look out the window. I'll show you again out the window. My little chickadees. And the pond. And you can even see the grass hut. I know, isn't that amazing? It has a red flag on top. And I don't see the flag at the moment. But see that white area right there? That's the road, the highway. Oh, you know what I do a lot now? Now that I've got this, wait a minute, I have to turn you around. You didn't turn around, did you? It's too close. How do I do that again? Look at that, and all the words didn't come up. So, what were we talking about? It's gone. Oh, yeah. So I like to sit down there by the highway because it's become a tourist attraction, you know, like my grass hut. It's so awesome in there. I have a swing that hangs from the very pinnacle, the apex of the poles. There are 15 poles, and it goes around 7 of them. The rope goes up, 2 ropes go up, around, and down. And that's the most awesome swing. I can swing way far back and go way far up, as far as you can go. It's a pretty big teepee, I guess. I mean, I do bump my back on the thatch if I go too far. And I'll bump my feet tips against my little hanging lantern just hanging from a pole if I'm not careful. Anyway, so I like to go down there. I like to make campfires. I like to walk through the woods, through these Christmas trees, which are standing in the alders, and here we come, full circle. You wondered if I'd ever finish that conversation, right? It's like the joke I started to tell and never finished the end of it. Nobody knew the end of my joke. Anyway, I have to make a video of my 4 jokes. I have 4 jokes. Anyway, so I make campfires down there, and people stop and they admire the teepee. And I have a baffle, you know, like it's just a teepee, and so there was an opening. And I couldn't figure out how to close the opening, how to make a door for that. And then I figured it out. I came straight out or down like this with some boards, had a board going across and one down either side. So I had this board that was coming down the side of the teepee and sticking out, right? And it goes farther than the bottom of the teepee. So, and it's like that, right? My doorway. And I took a piece of plexiglass and I put that. And it's just about the right height, the right thickness. It's a little thin, or little narrow. It's about that much too narrow to actually. So I should probably make a border for it. So so I like to sit down there. I like to the alders. So the alders grow in sticks. That's why I was showing you those down at the pond, because those are alders. They grow straight up for a while, and then you get a little clump, and then they start to lean, and they're very bendable. And so they'll lean and they'll lay down on the ground, and they'll completely obscure everything. You can't get through. So I went through cutting all the things that were down on the ground, making pathways. But then these groups, so there'd be like 5 or 10 or more, maybe 10 is about all, alders in a clump. And so I would stick a Christmas tree in the middle of them. And there's the most beautiful Christmas trees: Fraser fir, balsam, white spruce. I think there's other kinds too. Anyway, so I took all these and I stuck each one into a cluster of alders, which now shows where the alders are. All of a sudden, they all stand out. You can see where the clumps are. And you can also see where you could have a pathway between them through the alders, through the Christmas trees. So I think I have 5 or 6 pathways. One near the road, another one to connect, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 pathways that go to the stream. One goes along the stream, and the other 4 go through the Christmas trees. And they all wind around. They're beautiful. So I like to go snowshoeing through there. And then I like to sit and get warm by the campfire. And since the alders are dead branches, generally stand up straight, they still look like they're alive. The only way you can tell the difference is there's no catkins on them. Those little tiny pine cones, or those little long skinny things, those are the catkins, which are good fire starter actually if they're not this year's. Anyway, that's what I do when I'm down there. So I'm getting kind of tired of talking to you now. It's been fun, don't you think? I may say something again. You just don't know. You never know. But I think I better stand up. Maybe I'll play my violin or something. Okay, then. I'll talk to you later. We'll check in. Bye. Hey, and comment. Can you tell me your schedule or a list of the stuff that you like to do? What you do when you're bored, or how you enjoy being in the house for days at end? Okay, then. Ta-ta. You saw it here last. You heard it here last. You can do this at home. Results may differ. Oh, wrong one. Bye, Susan. Bye, everybody. Look at that sunshine. I should watch this video if we have a cloudy day. Okay, I gotta push that X.